Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of SmugMug Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is episode 112. It has been streaming live on Tuesday, November the 23rd, 2021. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the show, episode 112. Thank you so much for joining in for this episode. It's another tips and tricks episode today, so I'm going to give you a quick run through some tips, and of course if you have any questions you can ask me those in the chat window. We're being streamed live on YouTube and on Facebook today, so if you get in the chat window there, I will see that chat appear here. Give yourself a shout out, let us know what part of the world you're joining us from. It's always nice to see where you're joining us from. Ray's in the chat there already, joining us from Sweden. Thank you so much, Ray. Give yourselves a shout out, let us know where you are, and if you have any questions, chat is the place to do that, and I will get to those in a moment. SmugMug Live, of course, is brought to you every week by SmugMug and by Flickr. So if you're looking for somewhere incredible to host your images online and have them look better than anywhere else on the internet, have an incredibly robust storage solution so that your images are safe in the cloud, or indeed having a wonderful e-commerce to sell images to your clients, then check out everything we do at smugmug.com. Or if you're looking to be part of an incredible photo community where you can be inspired and connected and sharing images with photographers from all over the world who have the same passion as yourself, then check out everything we do at flickr.com. My goodness, as I was talking there, you all appeared in the chat window. Bob, welcome to the show. Hi from upstate New York. First time catching you live. I've been going through back issues. That's a great shout out there, Bob. Thank you for joining us live. But if you haven't seen this show before, as I did mention, it's episode 112. So if you haven't seen it, you have a lot of catching up to do, as I always say. On YouTube channel SmugMug Films, on our YouTube channel there, you will find a playlist for all the tips and tricks episodes and a playlist for all the SmugMug Live episodes. Tips and tricks are me talking about using SmugMug, and the other episodes are typically when I have a wonderful guest with me giving us some insight into their world. So yeah, go check out the back catalogue. Scott's joining us from Florida in Jacksonville. Welcome. Stephanie is from Washington. Welcome, Stephanie. Let's see who else is here. Sarah is joining us from Connecticut. So special for members, can that apply to current clients? Our Black Friday deal, Sarah, I'm afraid is for new customers only at this point. The Travelling Cooper Photography, hello from Scotland. Yes, hello indeed, close to me. I owe you an email, I have not forgotten. I will get to you. Mary, welcome from East Coast. Which East Coast? We do not know, but she is on the East Coast there somewhere. Argelia is joining us again from California. Jim is Eugene in Oregon. Nick, hey Nick, is joining us from Kent here in the UK. My goodness, there are a lot of you. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through, but let's just say the whole world is represented today on the show. So thank you all for joining. Looks like many of you are on Facebook. There's a lot of you on YouTube as well. So thank you for joining wherever you are. Right, going to be a fairly short episode today, but I want to jump into our tips and tricks. And this is a tip that I've been asked for many times, but it is quite an advanced tip. So I've been waiting till we covered all the other bases and covered all the other parts of SmugMug. And if this is your first time here, then as I say, you have a lot of catching up to do. So go check out the past episodes on our YouTube channel. But if you have been here before, you'll be very familiar with this. This is the demo site which we play about with every week, and I use this site to give you insight into all the different things you can do with your SmugMug site. Now, if you've been here before and if you've used SmugMug before, you'll be familiar with the Customize button. The Customize button, when you click on it, opens our Customizer, which is where you can change all the content blocks that you add to your SmugMug site. You can see all the content blocks here on the home page. As you add those content blocks, which are hidden just below my picture, so let me hide myself just now. You can see all these content blocks that you can add to your site. Now, in previous episodes, I've gone through all these content blocks, letting you know what they all do, and giving you an insight into how you can adjust those content blocks to make them work in different ways. But the one content block I have not touched is the one down here that says HTML and CSS. And if I open that, there is a CSS content block and an HTML content block. So guess what? Today I'm going to give you a brief insight into the customization using code. Now, I personally am not a designer, I'm not a coder, and I love the fact that I can use my SmugMug site without having to know code. It's one of the big features on SmugMug is you can use our pre-built content blocks to drag all the different things onto your site and place them like building blocks so that you don't have to code anything, and we do it all for you in the back end. But there are times where you maybe want to do something that we don't offer, or you maybe want to do something very unique to your site, where you want to put some code into your site. So therefore, we do allow some HTML and some CSS coding of your site. To get access to that, you will have to be on one of our Power accounts or above, so Power Portfolio or Pro. You can use our HTML and CSS to change your site. But I personally, as I said, don't know code. So what's really cool is you can cut and paste a lot of it and use code that other people maybe have shared with you, or you found that do something that you want to do, and adjust the code by literally copy and pasting. So if I go back to the site, let's hide myself again. There is this content block down here where you can add code. There is one other place where you can add code to the site, and it's one where you probably would add code more often than not. In the theme, I've covered themes before, where you can change the theme of your site, the color, the layout, the font, the backgrounds, all that type of thing of your pages and your galleries by using the theme. And there's lots of different pre-built themes as well as customized themes that you can add. If I click on the little tool icon, the little wrench or spanner, whatever you want to call it, here next to my active theme, you will see that I get this pop-up window, which I've gone through before on previous episodes, but it's where I can change, as I say, the font, the colors of those fonts, the colors of the body of the page that I'm customizing, or the gallery that I'm customizing. And then if we go to the advanced tab, I can change some opacities of sections of the page that I'm working on. But if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see here that within the theme itself, I can add CSS to customize some things within the theme of the site that I'm working on, and customize that theme using CSS. And if I click on the edit button, you'll see here that a code editor pops up where I can enter code. Now, if you're uber smart and you understand code, and you can go in here and enter your own code and look at elements within our own site that you want to change, then I would do that. But I would urge caution that, of course, CSS and coding your site is extremely powerful, and therefore I personally only ever use code that I know is trusted and that other people have already experimented with or used and have shared online. So let's look at some examples of what we can do here. Now, I have some code already copied here in my notes. So let's see what I could do to get started. Now, one of the cool things is, let me just close this down first and come out of the customizer. If I go to my site, and I click on my portfolio, and I go to my portfolio and I click on monochrome here, one of the things, we can change lots of things in this page just using the settings within the content blocks, but there are things on the page that we put on there, and one of the things up here is this buy photos button. So you can see here the big buy photos button on the page, and if someone was to click on that, they would get taken to a page where they can pick images from that gallery that they maybe want to buy. Now, I can, using CSS, actually change this the wording with it on the button of this buy photos button. So let's go into customize, and I'm going to do this in the theme. And let me just get the right button. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to the theme, so follow along here. I've clicked the theme tab. I go down to the active theme, which is my AMG demo theme. Click on the little tool icon, brings up the edit theme settings block. I go to the advanced tab, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and click on edit. Now, I'm going to go over here and copy this this code and then paste it in here. You should see the code. So there's some CSS code that's popped up on the site. And looking at this code, what it's going to do is it's going to change that by photos label and replace it with whatever we write in here within the commas here. So let's change this to holiday store. Okay, so I've just changed the words there within that, and if I click done again, I'm finished with the customizer. If I hit publish and the page refreshes, and then hopefully it says holiday store there on the button. So you can customize that with that piece of code that has been added within the themes. Now I've got a whole load of code down here. Which other one? So just looking at my notes to see which one I want to go to. So let's say we look at this image here, and this section is called our e-commerce or commerce lightbox. So people are looking at the image, and it's where they can ask or it's where they can add product to buy this photo. But if they click on the photo again, they are taken to just the lightbox where they see the image nice and big. Let me just see if I can minimize this page a little bit so you can see the full page. There we go. So you'll see it if I hide my picture again. No, and it's this one I need to reduce. Sorry, let me just hide some things. There we go. So if I hide my picture here, you can see that when they're looking at the image in the lightbox, on the image itself, it has the buy photo button and the Lone Tree Cairngorm's title for that button. Now, I could move those buttons using a little bit of CSS code. So let's see if I can find that code. Just looking through my notes. Yep, let's copy that piece of code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the customizer. I see your questions coming in, people in the chat window, so bear with me, and I will get to those in a moment. Right, so let's go back to the customizer. Click on Customize button, and this one, again, I go back into the theme. I click on the tool setting. Again, my theme setting appears. Let me go back into the edit button where it says custom CSS. And although I already have some CSS in there, I can put more in there as well. You can have multiple pieces of code in there. So if I click done, close the settings tab, close the customizer by hitting done, and hit publish now, then hopefully when I go back to this image, and I look at it in just the lightbox view, there we go. You can see that the buy button, the buy photos button, has moved below the picture along with the text as well. So yeah, little pieces of code that you can put on your site to move elements of the site around. So let me get into the chat window, see what you're all saying in there. Hi everybody, those of you that joined me a little bit late. Lots of big shout outs for SmugMug. Groundhog 11ish, welcome back, a frequent visitor to the show. Especially grateful for catching the code and CSS demo. Thank you so much. Well, I will do my best. As I say, I'm not a coder, but I just want to really give you insights into where the code goes, so that you can experiment a little bit and know where to put things. Nick, let's see, what was your question? Could I use that kind of CSS code to change the buy this photo button in a specific gallery? I also sell short video clips, but when you click on, sorry, that disappeared. When you click on each video clip, it says buy this photo. So yes, there is a CSS code that can hide the buy photo button on a specific gallery. So you could put it on the gallery page. So I will show you where some of that code can be found in a moment. But yes, Nick, there is a way to do that. And no, I'm not going to be able to help you with all your CSS questions today on the show live. But if you reach out to our incredible support team, our SmugMug heroes, they can always point you in the right direction when it comes to entering CSS. Let's see, Mark had a question. Here we go. Love that you can upload from your Flickr account. Is there any way to upload from a specific album rather than having to scroll through all the photos? I'm not sure of the ability to upload from a specific gallery, a specific album from Flickr, but I will check into that for you, Mark, and I'll reach back out to you if I find the right answer there. But I think it is, you have to go scroll through and find the picker to do that. Hey, John. John is back with us from the Dog Pound. Good to see you, John. It's been a few weeks since I heard from you. Good to see you. Can you show code snippet resources? Yep, bear with me and I will show you a great place to get them. And Groundhog11 says, awesome support team. Yes, as I say regularly on this show, very, very proud of our SmugMug heroes. They are an incredible bunch of people who will help you out. Now, let's go back to the site. I'll show you one other little piece of code. Down here underneath my photo, as I say, I've moved this image, or moved the buy photo button below the image and moved the title below the image. I could also change this button in the lightbox to say something else rather than just buy photos. Now, buy photos, we've experimented and we think we have the right type of wording down there, but maybe you have a special use case and you want to change something. So this one I'm actually going to do on the entire site just to show you using the content block. So let's go back to my home page. I'm going to jump into the customizer again by hitting the customize button at the top of the page there. Once the customizer opens, I will hide myself again so you can see this. I'm going to go to, on the location tab where I'm editing on my site, I'm going to go to entire site. So I'm going to click on entire site location. That way I know I'm changing, working on the entire site and not just a specific page. I'm going to scroll down to where it says HTML content block. I'm going to drag that CSS content block onto my entire site. Now, it doesn't really matter where it is, but I tend to stick them down in the footer there. And let's paste in this piece of code that I have. So this, there's some instructions in here. It says this code replaces the default buy button in the lightbox. So whatever I want to change it to, I'm going to change it to here. And again, it could be anything we want. Let's just call this one print special or something. It could really be anything you want. And of course, you want it to be something kind of salesy, something that is going to encourage people to buy. So hopefully once we go back to the lightbox, let's go to portfolio and click on anywhere on my site. I'll just click on monochrome again. We'll go back to that image, go back to the lightbox, and you can see now down here in the bottom it says print special or print store or buy this image, buy this print, whatever you want it to say down there. As I say, by default it says buy photo. We think that's the most universally accepted way that people understand what's happening with that button, but using that CSS can change that. Now, there's other places we can work with buttons. Navigation is a good place to use some CSS. At the moment, you can see that all my navigation buttons, they don't do anything when I hover over them. And we can use some code. We have some built-in features to change how these buttons act, or the navigation elements act on your nav bar, but we can change them about. So let's see what I have in here. Let's see. Yes, if I actually go to, let's go back to my entire site and customize it. Let's go customize again. And I'm going to go to the entire site. And I'm going to go into the actual content block itself. So this navigation content block that's highlighted red here. If I click on the little tool icon, you can see here there's a hover color. So if you were to hover over one of the elements in my navigation bar, so where it says, you know, home, portfolio, client galleries, that type of thing, at the moment it just stays the default color. But I can use either an emphasized color or a muted color to highlight that I'm hovering over it. Let's just go with emphasize, see what that does. Hit done, hit publish. And once it's published and I go to, let's go to my portfolio, you can see, yeah, that theme's not actually doing anything with the emphasized theme. So again, the theme controls how the emphasized, the muted colors work. So I'm just going to go back here and change it to one of those other settings, which was, let's try accent colors so that it pops up as an accent color. Let's try that. Hit publish. Yeah, now when I hover over it, you can see it goes to an accent color. And as soon as I hover over it, that accent color appears, so I know which one of these I'm about to buy. Now that is a feature that's built into the tool itself, built into the settings of the content block. So I can change these type of things without needing any code. And we've tried to add as many of these things into the content block to prevent you from having to use code. But some people can get really creative with their code. I found a piece of code today when I was preparing for the show that makes the hover state ever so slightly fade in and fade out rather than just instantly being on as I hover over it. So I'm just going to go copy this piece of code. And yep, you've guessed it. I'm going to go add that code to the site. I'm going to go to the customizer again. So I click on customizer, go back into the customizer, and this one I'm going to add into the theme. So this is something that's going to be controlled by the theme CSS. I go to the advanced tab again, scroll down to the bottom, click on edit, and let's go to the bottom and add this fresh piece of CSS code. And here what it's doing is it's creating a 0.2 second ease in and a 0.2 second ease out transition from that fade state, that hover state. So when I hover over one of these navigation items, rather than just instantly changing to the hover color, it's going to kind of fade in and fade out. So let's just publish those changes to make them live. And let's check that this works. So now when I go over, it's ever so subtle. And CSS is where you can do a lot of subtle changes to your site. But you can see that as I move across these, rather than it just being a blunt straight on and off, by adding that piece of CSS code, it's allowed me to just make it a kind of softer feeling and a little less harsh when it comes to that hover state as well. So that is a few examples of what you can do with CSS and where you can use them on your site. Now again, I'll give it that caveat that you have to be very careful with what you're doing with CSS, because it's a quick way to make your site do things it doesn't want to do, or to break your site. So only use trusted code and make sure you know what you're doing before you go in there and do it. Now, before I show you a great place to find information about CSS you can use on your site, I'm going to ask you to do me a big favor, as I always do. I'm going to ask you, if you're watching on YouTube, to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, That way you'll be notified whenever we release another episode of SmugMug Live. If you're watching me today on Facebook, make sure you like our Facebook page. And all of you, give us a thumbs up on this episode. That way Facebook and YouTube will help other people find this episode by suggesting it to people who may be interested to find out a little bit more about SmugMug. So I really appreciate you doing that for me. So go hit that like button. So last little bit for today. We'll go back to my page, and I want to introduce you to Digital Grin, dgrin.com. Hopefully many of you are familiar with this wonderful forum, which is the SmugMug forum. Digital Grin is a photography forum that is specifically about SmugMug, and there are wonderful people in there sharing lots of advice and knowledge and everything you can share on a forum. So head over to dgrin.com, Digital Grin, and there is a section over there which is all about customization. So not just CSS, but customizing your site in general. And if you scroll through here, you will find people not only discussing or asking advice on how to change code or what code to use, but indeed sharing that code with you. So let's see, that's just a question. Sorry, let's go back to some of these resources. Let's see, trying to see which one might be have some code on it. Adding a download icon to keyword search. So here's a thread in there. Just pick this one at random. I'm not suggesting this one, but you can see here that people are sharing that code and reviewing it and improving it as you go through the different threads. You can find pretty much all the code that's usable for your site right there on Digital Grin. So head over to dgrin.com. Let's see, Kim. Hi, Kim. Kim says, hello, I'm Groundhog11ish. Well, hello, Kim. Nice to see you in a different guise. I'm in another account. I share your demos with my photographer group all the time. Digital Grin is awesome. Well, thank you, Kim, and Groundhog11ish, whatever you want to call yourself. But yes, Digital Grin is a great resource for all things SmugMug. It's where our community really comes together and shares knowledge on all the different bits of SmugMug. Chris, welcome. Chris says, been on SmugMug for at least 4 years and never realised this kind of support existed. Yes, well, there's lots of support at SmugMug. dgrin has been around, I'm not sure how many years dgrin has been around, longer than I've been at SmugMug, and I've been there for 10 years. And it's a great resource, but of course my go-to resource is definitely help@smugmug.com, where our SmugMug heroes will be in touch with you very, very quickly to help you with anything you need to know or any support that you might need. Sorry, I'm just browsing through the chat before we finish up here, just to make sure I've got to all your questions. Yes, it looks like no more questions. So final call for questions. You have a few seconds to get your question in before I wind up for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully that's given you a little bit of insight into CSS. I don't want to go too deep into it. Really, today was just about showing you where CSS can be used on the site, a little taste of the sort of things it can be used for. Our goal is to try and make as much of it customizable within our product without needing code. But of course, there's so many of you out there, you all want to do different things with your site, and that's where CSS can come in handy. So go have a little look at dgrin or elsewhere on the website and see what else you want to know about SmugMug. Some of you are still joining in saying hello. Hello, Gary. Gary, dear friend of mine, very close to me here in Scotland. Good to see you on the channel, Gary. Nick, thank you so much. Another great episode. Yeah, really appreciate you joining, especially those of you who are here every week. It really is a pleasure to talk to you and give you a little bit of insight into what we can do. Next week, we're hoping to have a special episode next week, so it won't be a tips and tricks episode. Stay tuned for our announcement of a special episode of SmugMug Live next week. If that doesn't come off, then I will do a tips and tricks episode. And we'll squeeze in a few more at the start of December before we get into holiday season and take some breaks. But for now, wherever you are in the world, stay safe, look after each other, be kind, and we'll see you back here for another episode of SmugMug Live very soon. Thanks, everybody. Take care.